It's a birthday. Ooh! All right.
A full birthday week. Woohoo!
Yes, our birthdays are a day apart. So mine's this Sunday and yours is this Saturday, right?
Yep.
Woohoo! Yes, we're Pisces. And here's a fun thing before we get into the juicy stuff. You're Pisces, and I believe both our husbands are Aries, right?
Yeah.
Crazy, isn't that? But let's talk about like how we actually got together. Yeah. And we met each other through the GC Index because we're both GC partners, GCologists. And I was watching you on LinkedIn and I was like, oh, I like her blue hair. Okay, seriously. It was your hair that got my attention.
And I'll remember that. Taking notes.
It's how I roll. It's how I roll, Roxana. And because, which we will share, one of the personality profiles, it's a natural thing what I do. I reach out to people, I connect. It's my thing. Mm-hmm. So I reached out to you. And as we got talking, we started to realize we have a lot more in common, and then we have a lot of things that are extremely different. But it has never made a difference with you and I. Mm-hmm. It's crazy. And so you and I were talking before we went on air. And is it okay if I kind of just highlight a couple of those things?
Okay, go on.
So our purpose, and help me complete it. Mm-hmm. So you and I both believe that there's no difference between personal and professional work. That was how you and I came together. For me, I really want people to truly be happy. And I always love to unlock their potential. That's me. And what lights you up?
For me, it's helping people grow, but in a way that, changes the status quo. Doing things differently and helping people grow through seeing and perceiving things different than they did before, which is what I always, if I think about it,
it's a great bridging here of you and I as game changers. Now, I don't know, did you get the profile? Maybe while I'm yapping, if you want to pull it up in the background, you're a lot faster than me, our profile.
Okay.
You have it on hand? And
I will.
So as she's doing this, and I'll talk through, this is the beauty of working as a team.
Love that.
So, okay, there's over thousands of different variations when it comes to the Game Changer Index. I mean, how crazy it is of the probability that two people come together over blue hair actually have the same Game Changer Index profile. It just fathomed me when we found that out. But what I find through our relationship, it's actually helped me tremendously, because everything that I go through and everything she goes through, I know she gets me. I know my struggles. I mean, I'll be at 10 o'clock. I know we message over LinkedIn. She's in Canada. I'm in the US. I'm like, oh, I'm having trouble with this, because I know at the end of the day, Roxana gets me because of our profile. And when she gets it up, we'll show you what it is. Mm-hmm. Now,
in a minute,
we thought it was a lot of fun to start exploring this. And we've taken a couple of different personality tests, and we have not yet to land on anything alike. None.
Oh, none. Are you kidding? We're so different. We're so different.
So different.
And there you go. I'm gonna put this up because it's like, oh, where did we go?
So for those of you that are watching, what you're looking at here in our profile are where we want to put our energy most, where we feel most passionate, and I would say fulfilled in the sense of where we put our energy and contribute to the work we do is our game changer.
Yes.
And add any color and meat around this as I talk. And then our second one, we would call ourselves game changer strategists. Now, the game changer, as you can see here, we can be quite obsessive. And yes, Roxana and I do lose ourselves. She actually had to put guidelines today that we don't talk afterwards because she had a meeting. Because we start riffing ideas. We do have a habit of that, but I think we actually enjoy it. It's what actually bonds us. And we see the possibilities and challenge the status quo. And this is why we even started this show. I mean, that's what brought us together, that we created aligned, we found out our purposes were similar, and we created an outcome and goal together to change the future of work, which is the purpose of the show.
That was the goal, because I remember when you said it and we were talking about, okay, what do we want to do with the show? Why are we creating this show? And we were thinking, we want people to enjoy doing their work. We want to change the way that people work so it feels like a Friday night every day at work. This is where we started from. And it's like I want to show this comment from the GC Index. They just commented on YouTube. Both Pisces, both married to Aries, and both GCologists, a great combination. Yeah. I would say yes, especially that we have the same profile score in game changing and strategy.
Yeah, and it's not like, oh, we're a game changer strategist. No, across the board, our profile is the same.
The same.
When I showed her mine, I think I showed you mine I was talking about, and you go, well, that's just like mine. I go, no, it's not. No. And then I said, yeah. What's your playmaker? What's your polisher? And I'm like, oh my God, we have the exact same profile. And it's crazy.
It is. It is crazy.
And it's crazy in a good way. Like I said, I truly mean you get me.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now, you and I both, when it comes to actually doing task-oriented things, that's probably the number one thing that you and I, we try not to complain, but hey, everyone has to blow off steam. That's where we blow our steam. Have you ever noticed that?
Always.
It's always on that. We're always trying to find ways to simplify our life.
Yeah.
We just had a conversation yesterday about not using Hootsuite or Buffer, because I was like, oh, I don't want to use Hootsuite. They don't allow you to upload LinkedIn videos, and I'm having to manually go on LinkedIn and do it. This is crazy. I like to schedule things and have a life. And then you're like, I found something. And I'm like, ooh, show me.
Yeah, because that's what, like, for me, I don't, and I think, and you were like, yeah, show me. Oh my God, this is a lifesaver. So this is, the game-changing approach, the game-changer approach, actually, in this is like, I'm not afraid of trying something new. And you were the same. It's like, oh, okay. What
I actually used it today, and I have no idea how well it's working. And I was okay with it.
Exactly. But like the whole point is, if that helps me change the way that I do things and it helps me for the better, if I can see how it changes, then I'm going to use it. It's easy. I'm not going to say, oh, okay, I'll just wait and see and try this one some more because I've used it up until now. No.
I didn't even ask you a lot of questions about it.
Exactly.
Now, if it was probably somebody that was an implementer or some other type of person, they probably would have drilled you on how it worked, the mechanics or what might have you. I was just like, oh, okay. And what social platforms does it use? Can I upload videos? Excellent. Okay. I signed up and I started using it.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And probably I wouldn't have been able to give them the right kind of details, because the kind of details that I'm interested in is that going to help me? Is it going to make a difference in the way I do things? And that's it. I don't know all of the settings and all of the things. No, I don't know that yet. But hey, I just use it. So this is how our discussions go, basically, most of the time.
And we always make sense of things, which is our strategist. So we'll throw out an idea. Yeah. We'll make sense of it. And either you're coming from your point of view of making sense, and I'll go, oh, yeah, I understand. I get that. Okay. And we move on. Mm-hmm. Because I'll go, yeah, I agree. And I'm fine with my idea. I don't get stuck on it. And it was funny because we talked about this the other day, why we don't get so stuck on our ideas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we did. And it's the beauty with the GC index is that it has 100,000 combinations, because you get the scores and you get scores from 1 to 10 in all of the 5 proclivities. So, and you can imagine what were the odds of us two having the
I
same
know.
exact profile. So that's one thing. But the good thing about what the scores are in here is that as a game changer, you're really driven by what your ideas can do to change something. To, oh my God, I'm having a test. I will be on mute. You go.
What?
I have a fire testing thing going on in my building. So if it starts shouting or doing they're testing the
have
alarm.
to be quick here. So
So
basically, in our profile, what we learn is her and I don't get stuck on an idea because we don't have like 9 or 10 level of a game changer. And so we don't fight over whose idea. We really don't. Because what her and I really care about, and correct me if I'm wrong, Roxana, is we care about actually changing the game in our outcome that we wanted to do on this show, and also mutual mission personally. And as long as it's moving us towards that direction, we don't fight an idea. We'll just go, oh, yeah, okay, that makes sense. We always make things and say, okay, yeah, better. Or, oh, yeah, let's change it a little bit. I never feel like I have to stand my ground, even though we're both game changers coming to the table. It's never been an issue with you and I, ever.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to try and speak, and I'm going to mute myself whenever the alarm starts. So joys.
Hey,
right?
we roll with it, right?
We roll with it, right? So bear with me. Okay, so that's one good point, because sometimes what happens, especially when people are driven by ideas and ideas matter so much to them, is like we get to identify with them. So where the score is higher, you think, okay, if my idea is good, I'm good. If my idea is debatable, then I'm debatable. So that doesn't happen with us with this particular kind of score. And it also what it helps with to know your GC index profile is to know what you're driven to make a contribution in, what you feel energetic about, and it's not just what motivates you day to day, but in what motivates your actions, what motivates how you feel about what you're doing and how you're doing it. This is what we're talking about. And what Veronica kept saying is that, okay, we have the same game-changing index profile, absolutely identical, but we're so different in all of the other personality tests that we've taken.
There hasn't been one.
I think there hasn't been one that was the same, which is brilliant.
and so which has also been interesting too, is because we know our nature and we know where our gaps are, we actually help each other. So I obviously come up with a lot of ideas, and one of the things that she understands is when we have lack of clarity on what our target is, it makes it hard to create a discipline because we have a low implementation score. So for me, I've been struggling a lot. What does Veronica 2.0 look like? And I've been waffling. I mean, anyone knows I've changed my LinkedIn headlines, around. And I knew what I cared about, but how do I turn that into a business is what I've been struggling with. And the game changer in me was always driven by this. And yes, I get defeated. That's why I said you're like my support group. But you help me, and you realize is you just need to get that clarity. You need to actually just be able to focus. You need to be able, because she understands. Oh, whoop, whoop. And then she understands that it's what I need. I need clarity. So my game changer strategist in me can really go at it. Because the minute I know my target, I put all my energy. I mean, you'd think that I would have a low implementation score. I am not lazy by any means. If anyone knows me, I work and I work once I'm focused and I'm into what I do. Now, there's a difference between I'm not into do, and she knows I'll procrastinate on something. But once it's really related to and driven by that game changer, you can't stop me. The train has left the station. I'm at full speed.
Mm-hmm.
And I turn
that's
on
amazing.
My motivation.
Yeah, and that's amazing because you said something that's absolutely super interesting here, and it's a great connection to make. Because when we keep procrastinating, actually procrastination is an emotional thing that we do. It's not about time. It's not, no. It's about how we feel about what we're supposed to do. And when we have something big that we're supposed to do, sometimes it's scary, feels overwhelming, doesn't bring a lot of joy, all of that. So we keep procrastinating. Exactly. And it's easy to find excuses because, like, I don't feel good about embarking on something that's going to mean a lot of effort and very little joy. So, but when you connect it with what the impact of that is going to be, that's when you stop procrastinating. And that's when you start doing. And so
I got life coaching. I had actually two types of coaching. First, I started with communication coaching because I thought, that's what was going to help me at the time. And then I started realizing I had some clarity issues. So through this process, I learned the value, and all successful people, this is not like something not new. Okay. Mm-hmm. But when you have a goal-oriented habit, it's extremely important. Every successful person has that. And so part of my life and success coaching, that's something that we teach everyone that we work with. And so I went through my personal transformation, and the post that's probably going to go out tomorrow. I'm using Buffer for pre-scheduling. So the post for tomorrow, I wrote it today. The post that's going tomorrow is all about goal setting and that habit around it, because it's actually helped me stay motivated. And I realized the clarity and having that goal, like I said, when the train leaves the station or like when those things happen, no matter my implementer score that I have, it's what drives me.
Yeah.
It keeps me grounded. It keeps me focused. And it motivates me. So let's talk about our personality types, if you want to jump into that.
Yeah, exactly. That's how, do you read my mind or what? I mean, come on.
Well, you do know that Pisces are supposed to be clairvoyant, right? We do sense things.
Definitely. Okay, so exactly. So let's talk about that, because we need to talk about, okay, we have the same impact. And that means wherever we go, whatever we do, that's going to be the impact that we're going to make on everything around us. Family, friends, business, you name it. That's going to be it. Let's talk about...
Oh, yeah, my friends and family know. I always come to the table with ideas.
Exactly.
Like I'm always having something that I want to do, or I make up or whatever. And they're so patient with me.
Yeah. So now
they love me.
Well, of course they do. So let's talk about the personality differences.
Yeah,
that's interesting, because we hear a lot of people whenever we talk about the GC index and the impact. Oh yeah, but that's similar to this personality test or this personality test. And
we prove that
we're
wrong.
not saying exactly. I mean, we're not saying don't use personality tests. Absolutely do. But this is not a personality test. This is an impact assessment. So let's talk about personality.
Yeah, and so if we really want to look at it, I should have brought the visual, but I use a lot of Peter Dill's neurological change model. And if you start at the top of the pyramid, it's your purpose, right? And then you have your identity, which is kind of like your B state. Who am I? And then you go into your values and beliefs.
Yeah.
And you and I have different core values. We have some similar, probably like the family one, and things like that. But I have, freedom and adventure. I'm sure that's probably not one of your core values, is it?
That for me is idealism and growth. See?
So, and we took a motivator test. It's a motivation finder. Actually, I like it. Now, would I use that in lieu of the GC index? No, I would actually use it after the GC index, because hear what I just said about my motivation. I would do it afterwards to understand how to keep me going. And my motivation thing was freedom and flexibility.
Yeah, exactly.
Yours is not, right? What's yours again?
No, mine is growing and learning. For me, it's all related. But I mean, it makes sense. And when you look at them, and that's what we were talking about. Actually, a little bit before the show, like we talk about that kind of stuff. We could talk about.
I know we need like a pre-record before the show so we can actually play those conversations.
So I mean, come on, so many good ideas in there too. But that's what we were saying, that actually. And we have to talk about the skills, the Strengthsfinder.
Oh yeah, no, that's next. We'll jump into that one.
These all come to complete the picture, and all of these personality tests and all of the results will give you a sense of what your strengths are, what motivates you, what might influence you, how you're influencing others, what your personality type is, and all of that. But that rarely has anything to do with how we feel about what we're doing, and how we feel at work, or how we feel about our results.
And I want to make a disclaimer: personality can change. So when I got into NLP, they talk about this all the time, because your beliefs can change.
Yeah.
They talk about behavior, and I actually have it's probably one of my other posts. Gosh, I keep ideas keep coming. That below the surface, right? If you really want to really talk about behaviors, you have to go beyond behaviors. And the GC index, if this iceberg visual, I'll post it on LinkedIn one of these days here. I got to save some of my juicy content here. And the GC index would fall of getting beyond behavior, is my point, because there's a lot of aspects to it. So no matter how much life coaching and mindset of the subconscious and all these techniques that I've been learning, clinical hypnotherapy, time techniques, you name it, I've been helping remove my limiting beliefs in order to help me be more successful. But I can tell you right now, nothing has changed, that I am still the game changer strategist that you see today. What I've learned is everything that has been limiting it, in order for me to make my impact, to meet the goals that I want, that I dream about, that coaching helped me actually bring game changer strategists out more. I'm going to say this from my personal experience. I found out that I was a game changer before I got the life coaching. So I know what has changed and what hasn't changed before knowing that. I also knew my personality before I got my GC index. I knew that my personality wasn't doing crap to make me understand why I was unhappy. And so the GC index was the catalyst, and I've talked about this several times, of why I even went on the path and eventually got a life coach.
Yeah. And as you were saying that, I was thinking, because that's like the brainstormer in me can't stop. It's how you feel with, so you have a certain type of personality, right?
Yep.
But that, unless you have, so that goes hand in hand with the impact that you can also make, right? Because you have this personality and you can have different kinds of impact with the same type of personality.
And some of that personality I changed is what I'm trying to tell you.
But the thing is, Exactly. And that changes. And that changes depending on how you feel about what you do, about the impact that you're making. Because if the impact that you're making with that kind of personality, if the impact that you're supposed to be making in one role or another doesn't align with the impact that you would naturally make, that actually also affects your personality, right?
Yeah.
Because your personality doesn't shine fully unless you align it with the impact, you align it with the results that you can bring, because that's
And
what
I
we're
bet
talking
you,
about.
and I wish I would have done this because I love to prove theories, like either a fact or fiction. Oh, I'm sorry. That's part of one of my strengths in the way I am. Well, we'll get
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
That I was a science major. What do you expect? That my disc results would have changed because there's one of them that asks about judgment and certain things.
Mhm.
Well, we learn not to judge. One of the things
Yeah.
is accept the model, the model of everyone's world in NLP.
Mhm.
So, of course, I'm going to answer it a certain way differently now.
Yeah, yeah. And the
Right?
same for me. It's the same for me. The minute I had the freedom to do things that changed the environment, that aligned with my game-changing impact. That's when, because in MBTI, for instance, I used to be INFP, so very introverted. And then in time that changed. That's why I'm saying, and you're saying the same thing.
Personality
Changes.
changes
The
because,
minute I
yeah.
could actually shine in my impact, I was given the opportunity to really do it. My personality changed, and I'm now, the test says that I'm more extroverted, so I'm
Yeah, because
probably an ambivert today.
if all of you follow the self-help books, we're saying things that are
Yeah.
already out there today. We're not making these up. When you start to work on your self-image, okay, and how you see yourself, and you
Mhm.
start to break through with that, your personality is going to change because we weren't really seeing who you really wanted to be in the first place, is my
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
Now, let's talk
Exactly.
about some of these personality things. Let's have some fun. So,
Mhm.
predictive index. And it's funny because another game changer strategist, I don't think Barbara, the other GCologist, she doesn't have the same profile like you and I, but I remember she took this test and she's not the same
Uh-huh.
either. So
Oh,
I'm a
interesting.
promoter. So now,
Right.
do you wonder how I reached out to Roxana and any of you that know me? Does that make sense?
Okay, yeah. Like for me, I'm a maverick, as you well know. So now it makes sense why I was like, yeah, sure, let's do this. Let's do a show. Let's create something completely out of, like, from
And
scratch.
I'm the
We're
one
starting
that,
everything from
hey, let's go
scratch.
do this. Hey, let's go do this. How many of you that know me, I've done it to you.
Yeah,
I've got you to
exactly.
do something. I've got you to get people together, or we've done something. It's like I should have been in promotions or something, right?
So I want to put
It's
this.
like I
Hold
missed
on.
my marking, but I always wanted to be
Okay.
Samantha Brown, like a talk show host. So I don't know. But
Oh, me too. Me too. See, that's where we align.
so yeah, so my predictive index is a promoter. You're a maverick.
Yeah, exactly.
And I did the disc, which you said you didn't do, which I'm an inspiration. I can't even remember, but that's where I ended up being. But let's talk about the Strengthsfinder. And I want to dive into the Strengthsfinder because when I talk to a lot of people, the number one thing that they always say to me, oh, we focus on strengths. Okay, so we're going to dive into this topic because that's probably the one thing I get people that no, I'm not, no GC index. I want to focus on people's strengths. We don't want to focus on their
Okay.
weaknesses. We don't want to have it turned into something negative for companies where they're going to use it against people. Okay, we're going to put this to bed right now.
Yeah, exactly. Let's do that. Okay. So again, I'm going to put the GC index up again just to make sure that we know what we're talking about. I need to find, where is
Okay, well, you play with that.
I will play with that. Okay.
So we did the strengths, and we have only one in common.
Yes.
Which is probably why we get lost with each other. Is that we're good at brainstorming.
Yay! Woohoo! Can you tell?
Yeah. Now, here's where it varies.
Mhm.
And we've actually found how to maximize that off each other. When you finally told me that, I was like, that makes sense. And then I started thinking about like my career, which I'll give some examples, and give examples about you as well. So our strengths, mine, I'm a strategist, brainstormer, thinker, and a philomath. You know, I had to look up philomath. I'm like, why do they have to use such a complicated word? What does philomath mean? So those of you that don't know, like me, I'm okay admitting to that. It's because I like to learn new things. Okay, disclaimer. I can't be the only one that doesn't know automatically what philomath means.
I like how you call it a disclaimer. It's so funny. I love to learn. Disclaimer.
I like to learn, and I do. I think I told somebody going, "Hi, I'm Veronica, and I'm a learner addict because I sign up for everything." There's a reason why I have so many certifications right now.
Yeah. There it is. There has to be. Okay.
So what are you?
So for me, my strengths are brainstormer, empathizer, coach, surprise, believer, and peacekeeper.
Yeah.
So apart from the brainstorming one, we don't have any other strength in common. So here's why we were talking again before the show, and we were thinking, okay, so you know your strengths, right? That actually help you have the impact that you want to have. It's like people on a sports team, for example, like basketball players, right? They all have the techniques. They might even have the personality. They might even have the height, the muscles, the everything. They're fit. They're in shape. That everything is very similar or not, or whatever it is that however different they are, right? That what the GC index does is it tells you how they're gonna impact the results of the team, right? What their contribution is gonna be. It's as if you were saying, okay, so this player is gonna be in defense, this player is gonna be in offense, and this player is gonna coordinate people on the field. Because that's what their impact can be. That's where they're at their best. In a corporate, in an organization conversation, that's what the GC index helps you with. You can take all the Strengthsfinder and personality tests and everything. What the GC index helps you with is make a business decision.
Now, and
What
also, let's talk about our strengths.
Mm-hmm.
Which one of those that, if they were to put you always maximizing that particular strength, or is there one that you might not necessarily like as much? Because I have a belief that just because you're strong in something doesn't mean you like doing it.
Yeah, the peacekeeper one, for instance, I thrive on harmony, but that doesn't mean that I necessarily love to solve conflicts.
So if they put you in a job,
exactly, right? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no. How would you feel as a game changer strategist? So if you were a conflict coach and all you did was conflict.
So if all I did was that, I would feel terrible unless I had the power to actually change the bigger picture, the larger situation, because that's what the game changer is all about. Like,
yeah, I like that they put no sports coach alive would recruit a member of their team based on personality. It's all about impact. Yeah, because it's about results.
Exactly. There it is. We're gonna put it up, right?
Yeah. No, oh, you're so fast. Exactly. I love it. No wonder you do this, not me. I just yeah. So So in the strengths, it's not
wait, there's more. There's more. Look, if they need a goal scorer, they'll recruit a goal scorer because they score goals. Ta-da! Big surprise. They wouldn't recruit someone on the basis they are an ENTJ or a Sunshine Yellow, or they are a brainstormer or a maverick. Would they?
Probably
Right?
not.
Exactly. Well, probably
Now,
not. Yeah.
these other things of getting to know yourself, they've actually been beneficial for myself and for you. But what it helps me understand is the decisions I make based on the impact that I'm shooting for, right? So again, going back to goal setting, right? I have a goal. I know that the best way for me to get the goal is I'm a game changer. I come up with things that probably are pushing the edge and getting people to think about that. I thrive in that. Me as an agile coach, you and I were talking about this. So let's talk about Strengthsfinder for me. And it was something that just I realized in our conversation that because I have a strength as a strategist and that thinker, part of me, I'm really good at, and the promoter personality, I am always good at finding patterns and connections of things. And I even did it today, this morning with someone. Someone was talking to me about what they did on a contract with the client, and someone over here is, wanting to move in that particular role. And I said, you know what, you need to talk to this person because that's a good thing that what he just did, he could share with you. And so I connected the dots. I didn't realize that's something I actually do quite often. Or like some department or some group, like when I'm at companies, when I was an agile coach, they're doing over here. I think it's a good idea for you guys to get together. But my game changer is always about transforming and changing things. So I was motivated by that because I see the possibilities of what it could do. And I use that strength as my strategist. Now, I didn't even realize I had another thing. Remember, I was telling you about my metaphors. So last night, I still have to get my last submissions for my certification. And we were doing metaphor, where I have to get a problem, come back, and then use a metaphor to help them understand their problem. Well, I was able to do it in 5 minutes because the minute she told me she was a synchronized swimmer, I was able to connect the dots and be able to create a metaphor from that because I saw the possibilities in my head and the ideas were flaring. And I didn't need to sound it out with anyone. I was actually quite confident. I thought it was like, ooh, this is a good one. And her head was tilting, going, because I was able to relate it to that problem very easily. And so, but again, I'm motivated by my idea that I was able to creatively think about that. And so everything that I do on my strengths, to my point is, it's always motivated by this game changer. So either I'm wanting to be a change agent.
Exactly.
I am wanting to challenge the status quo.
Yeah.
I see the possibilities, or I have a really unique idea of what I want to do with it. And so my strengths as a strategist, brainstormer, thinker, and new ideas, or new learning, that's also why I like teaching, because I like to creatively, I used to find new ways when I would make classrooms. I taught, we were teaching genetics, and I was like, oh, well, why don't we do X-Men? I like that kind of stuff.
Exactly. So, do it differently than other people would do it.
Now, let's talk about personality type, right? Now, remember the impact that I was able to make based on all that. So if I'm a promoter, I like to inspire. I'm motivated by freedom and flexibility, right? These are all things that probably helped me make a better impact, is my point.
Exactly.
But I always know
that aligns
where I'm best placed to make that impact.
So let me put that up, actually, because so
if I'm agile coaching, I know what I have solidified my identity, who I want to be, what are my values and what are important to me. I cracked myself open and I got real and I got honest with myself. And you're always going to get the best of me if I'm in situations that people are open to want to work with me and they truly want to do some kind of change, right? It's like, don't hire a coach if you really don't want any kind of transformation.
So there, I put it up. And it's
right?
the
Like,
definition
that's my
that you
philosophy.
get in the predictive
Now,
index.
you might have other coaches that don't have this thought in their head looming, but the game changer me does. Like, I get frustrated if it's like somebody signing up to get coaching and they really don't want to change. How eventful is that, right? So for me, I have to be in situations where I have that ability to help create change. And when there isn't that openness, right, and I'm just there just doing things or trying to sell change or just trying to do things that are very mundane and not very satisfying and creative for myself, I get very demotivated and I'm not happy. I'm not happy at all.
So see, you could get, because this is why I wanted to put it up, you could get somebody who's an extroverted personality, they're a promoter, they're supporting, they're encouraging. They might not necessarily have the same impact preference as you. So you put somebody who is extroverted, harmonious, supportive, and encouraging, and you ask that their impact, that the results that they bring are game changing or change the way things work or change the way that people are doing things. And they might have a preference as an implementer. With this particular personality, with this particular predictive index type.
Yeah,
but their impact is going to be getting things done, not changing things.
And because I know all of this, even before I actually knew, because I always knew there was like something about me, and the GC index kind of helped with that clarity. When I was a Scrum Master, I always marketed myself as someone that was able to kickstart teams or be someone that can come in and help them. And every leader that brought me in always gave me carte blanche because they liked my energy. They knew that I was that promoter, all that thing that you're showing right there. They liked that to help motivate and whatever. But I knew where I can make an impact. Every time I put myself in a situation that wasn't like that, where I wasn't kickstarting new teams, I didn't have like a blank slate for my ideas or to do, I knew where I could make the best impact. I was most successful in those engagements or the job that I had. And what if we can cut to the chase and actually know that right, except for all the guessing? What if I actually knew about my game changer index many moons ago when I first started my career, I could have saved myself a lot of tears, grief, job hunting, like jumping that I did long time ago. I could have saved myself from that.
I know. Yeah. I'm going to put mine up for a little while because here you might say, yeah, okay, fine. So Mavericks are visionaries. So that aligns actually with my game changer profile, right? Because, yeah, I'm totally not a fan of the status quo. I'm totally up for shaking things up. But knowing what my impact brings, it's what lights me up as a maverick, and how I know that I'm doing things the way that I feel great about doing things. Like you put, and one of the worst times of my life was when I had to execute tasks. Just somebody giving me stuff to do without me having to think about it, without me having to think about how I'm going to do it, because it was just there. You do it this way, and that's that. So that actually aligns with my impact and the kind of impact that I can make. But unless I know that, what this tells me, that I'm a maverick and I'm a visionary, what are the odds of me, who would hire me for that? Like, consider this. You are a 20-something-year-old and you're a maverick. Who's going to hire you to be a visionary? There is no job title as a visionary. They might think, oh my God, these guys, they're all ideas and they're not going to get the work done. Right? So who's going to hire you based on that? On the fact that, yes, based on the predictive index, you're a maverick. That's one thing. And another thing is, how are you going to keep doing things, and how are you going to feel great about the stuff that you're doing and how you're doing it, unless you understand how that aligns with what your impact can be?
And here's the thing is, when I look at that visionary, you could possibly be misconceived as a strategist.
Exactly, like full strategist. And
that wouldn't make me happy now, would it? If they actually said, "Oh, you're really good at big picture and communicating that to people and what might have you," and you might go, "Oh yeah,
patterns." Yeah,
and you wonder after a year into it why you start losing steam.
Right? Exactly. So that's why personality is one thing. And that's always good to know, because it tells you what muscles. It's like personality, and impact, they're different, because personality kinds and types are just like body muscles, right? You will know what muscle is stronger. You will know what muscles you still need to train to get them more in shape. That does not mean that you're going to have the impact of using that muscle. It's not going to be the same from one person to another. You have people who have great leg muscles. They can use that for running, for jumping, for walking long distance, whatever it is. That's the impact that they're going to make. That's how they're going to win the game, because they make a different kind of use of that muscle for a different goal, for a different result. That's the result that they can bring.
And here's the important thing of how impact can be powerful. And I want to make sure that we get this point clear.
Yeah.
And actually, it's related to being clear. You have to understand what outcome or goal you actually are trying to achieve. So if it's nebulous, that would probably be the first thing. So as we'll talk about the webinar that's coming up next week, that I have you and John coming as guests, when we talk about Scrum Masters, if you don't really know what the Scrum Master you're needing them for and what kind of result that you're trying to get, and I'm gonna accentuate business results. Yeah, it will be hard for you to align someone, and sometimes you might be looking for what's going on in the team as a result related to the team's business results. Sometimes it's kind of a compounding thing, but regardless, it's having clarity around where you're trying to go. What's that outcome? And once you have that understanding of these goals, outcomes, right, then you can start figuring out how to align people based on their impact. And again, this is their preferred energy of how they want to contribute to work. And it's not necessarily, think of it, a very positive thing. And I can't stress this. What is so bad to have somebody do something that they want to put their energy anyways, and they're probably most passionate about? Sometimes, how many times have you ever asked anyone, what do you like to do? And they don't know how to answer that question.
Just
what are you passionate about? And you know what? A lot of times they don't know how to answer that question either. But once you have a result that you're trying to get to, an outcome or a goal, what would that conversation look like afterwards then? It's a little bit easier, would you think?
It is, or it does help in any case, right? I mean, and because you mentioned, so yeah, I was working on putting this up because I think it really helps to, draw a comparison. Because again, we're all going to be different and we're going to use our strengths one way or another for the impact that we feel that we naturally can make. Because
And
if I
it
don't
also
have these
explains the
strengths and I
why.
can have the impact, I'm going to be super unhappy, right?
And let's dive in the topic of why someone does something. So a lot of times people will be a part of something and you just don't know why the results aren't happening.
Mm-hmm.
Is it a mindset? Is it a skills problem? Or is it impact? And it's almost like a onion, and you have to peel the onion back. One of the first things to find out is why somebody doesn't want to. Why on earth would you want to spend the money enhancing someone's skills if they don't even want to do it?
And why
That's not
are
very
you
wise on
gonna,
a budget bottom
it's
line as a
not.
business.
Exactly. And why are you gonna measure them based on skills that are not aligned with the impact that they can make? Because
Yeah.
again, people with the same skills, if you put them in the right role because of the impact that they can bring, they will shine. And all of those skills, they will almost like double or triple because they are used for that kind of impact that that person feels they can bring.
Yeah. Now let's touch on mindset, because this is extremely important too. So I deal with that a lot, obviously, in agile coaching. I don't know about you, Roxana, but I know with me, I'm not going to want to work on things to better myself if it's going to be an implementer focused impact.
Yeah.
I'm probably naturally, my brain, my subconscious is going to fight it, because your subconscious has values in there. And when we learn, we try to change our beliefs, right? The things that we tell ourselves. But our subconscious protects us. It's something that I learned. It will protect you. And my subconscious is a game changer strategist, and it's going to protect me. So when I'm working on mindset things, and then we're focusing on things that truly aren't what I want, I'm probably going to block myself
Yeah.
really on working through it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just something for us to think about. We talk about agile mindset and mindset for people, but it's like an onion. There's a lot more to it than just work on your mindset. Because I know that it's a very specific way that I approach it, where of what am I doing at the moment that you want me to work on my mindset, and how does that impact on my subconscious trying to protect myself? Is it going against my values?
Mm-hmm.
So if I really believe in freedom and adventure and family and friends, and then I'm a game changer, which sits in this value belief sphere, something's going to trigger, and it's going to start trying to protect me. And you wonder why you have breakthrough issues, right? With an individual when you're trying to work through the mindset. It's a lot harder. It's almost like going up Mount Everest, is my point.
Yeah, it is. It is. If you don't know where to start.
Now, how about if you aligned them to something that is more related to their impact, and then you start working on mindset once that's clear? Do you think it's a Mount Everest hill, or maybe the bunny slopes? Which one do you think?
Well, you know what I think. I will be curious to know what people think who are
Yeah.
watching this whenever they're watching.
Because I'm more open if it's channeled through ideas, challenging the norm, being a change agent. And when I worked on my mindset and I did, these things in my life coaching program, I always went back to those things and saying, how can I have done that better? Where was my mind? How was my state, my emotions, my reactions? You would have never had me go by default to say, what are the tasks I'm doing? And, like as an implementer or other things, I just don't go there. I don't. I did not go there during all my things that I had to do, because we have to kind of work on ourselves. We're the first client. It never went there with me. Never.
Yeah, because it doesn't resonate, because it doesn't speak the same language. That's what people get you or don't get you. Because
and even the coaches that I work with that don't know anything about the game changer, I talk about it, but and I try to be like, where we work through and we're trying to, we talk about ourselves and what might have you. I know this about me. And when I try to fight it every time, I've noticed it's an uphill battle, and it could be so much easier, is my point.
Yep. Okay. So we need to wrap up, because believe it or not, we've been live for almost an hour.
Yeah, we gotta wrap it up.
Yeah. So what do we want to talk about? Do we want to talk about our upcoming event?
Yes. So of course it's going to be game changing, because we can't help ourselves. So of course the promoter and me got 2 other GCologists, and I was like, I know there's a challenge with Scrum Masters. There's in multi-dimensions. So I decided to address one of them. And so this is the gateway to game changing for Scrum Masters: how to select and hire by impact. You could also talk about like assigning, but what I'm saying is, based on what we're talking about today, is how can we do it more effectively to get the results that we need? And it's obviously not by personality, as we talked about. So come to the free live webinar. What I have done is I took my perspective as an Agile coach. I've asked Roxana to come in a perspective on a management hat. And also, she doesn't really know anything about Agile. And I did that on purpose, because I wanted it to be pragmatic, because most of the people that were working in organizations are probably that's more in par of where their heads are at, right? Sometimes when you're so close to it, you don't have a good perspective. So I wanted to make sure that I had non-Agilists come to the party in this conversation. My strategist kicked in. And then we have John Franklin Hackett. He's going to come with a recruiter perspective. And so we have these 3 different perspectives in this live webinar. And I'm pretty proud for coming up with like, hey, why don't we do this and bring these people together? Because I find it quite multidimensional that way. And I'm the only Agilist. And so what we're going to do in here is we're going to talk about how the GC index can help, but we're going to talk about real life scenarios. Now, I'm making up these scenarios, and so they're like my special guests, and they're going to help, but they're doing it in a non-Agile approach thinking, which I think is great. A lot of times when you should go out there and you see these Agile webinars, everyone's an Agilist.
Yeah, exactly.
I purposely did this so at least that there's some kind of commonality, so people can meet in the middle of this level of understanding. So I really hope that all of you that are interested, or if you're in the Agile space, come to it. If you're not in the Agile space, this is actually quite translatable.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
When you're talking about when it comes to your employees, because who doesn't have to either figure out who in the company can do something or hire somebody externally? And we're going to talk about a lot of different scenarios, like if you are working with a vendor and outsourcing, because we don't discard that either. These are people helping make an impact in your company to drive your business results. So we're going to go and talk about all those things in this live webinar.
Yeah. So I wanted to say, from a non-agile perspective, which is, I know that a lot of companies, and most of the companies out there, are looking at agile ways of doing things. So that should be an inspiration to you out there, because it's a possibility to learn a lot from, what happens in the agile world that you are in, Veronica, and get that and understand how you can translate it in your organization. Because when we talk, and I'm a big fan of talking about how we select and how we hire the right way, so that we don't waste money, we don't waste time, we don't waste energy, and so that we don't lose talent. That's the thing. The battle for talent is wow, that's huge. So imagine when you select and hire by impact, how that's going to help you engage, motivate, and keep the talent in your organization rather than people looking somewhere else because they feel absolutely undervalued in your organization because they're on the wrong role.
And I'm taking it from, there's a reason why, and this is not just the reason why transformations keep failing and failing and failing. Mm-hmm. And I talk about Scrum Masters a lot because they're essential, where this is the predominant teaming agile framework out there. Okay. Mm-hmm. And there's not enough love in Scrum Masters in the way that it should be. And two, you can save a lot of money. And I say this because I've been to a lot of organizations where the selection of them, the development of them, the hiring of them is the strategy into it and execution is always an afterthought.
Yeah.
And if you probably ran the numbers of how much you're paying external mm-hmm. people to help you in this area, we could change that. Because there is a huge direct correlation to the importance of these individuals that are in this job as a Scrum Master, and if you put the focus on as soon as possible. So I'm going to bring it, like, I have lots of stories to share. I'm going to have to limit of what I've seen out there, and you have to add the dollars of these mm-hmm. agile consultants and agile coaches that are coming back in. And sometimes they come in more than once into your organization.
Yeah.
Don't you want to change that?
I want to see the person who doesn't want to change that.
Or okay, if you're thinking about going to a transformation, don't you want to prevent it?
Okay. So next Wednesday, we're going to talk about something that is absolutely related to a lot of stuff that we talked about today, because we were debating the names and you know, the words that we use matter a lot in how we perceive the idea. So teacher, mentor, and coach, and we were debating about why the meaning is different in sports versus corporations. So we're gonna talk about not just the meaning of that, but also the roles and how we can transform what these roles mean today, because we're looking at, we can bring them to a whole different level. And I think we're on the way, but this is what we'll be talking about next Wednesday, not at 10 a.m., at noon. See?
Oh, that's because we changed our time.
Yeah.
So those of you, I hope you enjoyed today's show for our birthday celebration, and always trying to keep it real. And changing the game for the future of work. See you guys.
Okay. See
Bye.
you.